9 huge Coronation Street spoilers for next week. March 17 to 19. Next week on Coronation Street, drama unfolds as Dee-Dee receives an unexpected visitor, while Tracy finds herself without a place to stay. Meanwhile, Carla and Lisa pursue an unforeseen lead. Daisy's big moment is overshadowed, and Roy races against time to prevent Cassie from making a life-altering mistake. 1. Will Roy come to Cassie's rescue? Frustrated by the family's stance, Evelyn insists they should be supporting Cassie rather than turning their backs on her. Meanwhile, Cassie, struggling with her addiction, finds herself in a precarious situation as she arranges a meeting with her dealer, right in the heart of the precinct. Just as Cassie is about to complete the transaction, Roy unexpectedly appears, catching sight of the exchange. Instantly grasping the gravity of the situation, he steps in and threatens to call the police. But will Roy's intervention be enough to stop Cassie from spiraling further? And by confronting the dealer, is he putting himself in harm's way? 2. Tracy's homeless. Tracy faces a harsh reality when Ken discovers how she has been treating Cassie in his absence. Wasting no time, he calls Tracy and orders her to move out before he returns home. The timing couldn't be worse for Tracy, who has just broken up with Tommy after he chose a job in Southampton over her ultimatum. Now, with nowhere to turn, she's left wondering where she will go next. 3. Dee-Dee's unexpected visitor. Dee-Dee Bailey receives an unexpected surprise next week when her brother James returns to Weatherfield. Now played by Jason Calendar, James has been living in the United States with his partner, Danny, for the past few years. His arrival catches Dee-Dee off guard, as she had no idea he was planning a visit. Upon arriving, Dee-Dee is blindsided by the news that an alternative donor has been found for Frankie. This unexpected development means that the family no longer has to wait for Dee-Dee's baby to be born in order to proceed with treatment. While Lauren remains immensely grateful for Dee-Dee's selfless decision to continue her pregnancy in the hope of saving Frankie, she is eager to move forward without delay. Eager to spend time with her brother, Dee-Dee makes the impulsive decision to skip a scheduled hospital appointment. She relishes the opportunity to reconnect, but their long-overdue catch-up is cut short when she receives an urgent text from Lauren, demanding that she head to the hospital immediately. As if the day hadn't already been overwhelming enough, James drops a bombshell of his own. He and Danny are interested in adopting Dee-Dee's baby. His proposal leaves Dee-Dee reeling, as it's an option she never considered. There's no denying that James and Danny would provide a loving and secure home. But the thought of her child being raised within the family and serving as a permanent reminder of Joel is something Dee-Dee struggles to process. With emotions running high, will she be swayed by their offer? 4. Swarla give chase. Mum Lisa is concerned about Betsy, resulting in Carla offering to take a day off work in order to keep an eye on her. But when Carla later receives a call asking her to urgently come over to the factory, she's forced to head out. It appears she's underestimated just how affected Betsy has been by the whole situation, though. When left alone in the flat, Betsy is terrified when the door buzzer goes. Later in the week, Roy is dropping Carla off at Weatherfield General when she's surprised to spot Rob's prison guard Mandy. Mandy had been in a secret relationship with Rob and aided his escape, before revealing she was pregnant with his child. Roy keeps watch as Carla phones Lisa, and by the time Mandy leaves the hospital, Carla and Lisa are in hot pursuit. Will she lead them to Rob? 5. Tracy has an uninvited visitor. Tracy's shocked finds when she comes face to face with her ex in the ginnel behind Coronation Street, who asks for her assistance. Rob eventually persuades Tracy to head out and meet up with a contact of his in order to collect a fake passport. But as she does so in the entrance to the ginnel, the pair are spotted by an intrigued Mary. Once Tracy is back at home and urging Rob that he needs to leave, they're interrupted by Mary hammering on the front door. Rob attempts to make an escape out the back door, but he's overwhelmed by pain. When Tracy does finally manage to get rid of Mary, she's shocked to find Rob collapsed on the kitchen floor. Despite his state, Rob is still determined to go through with his plan, and goes as far as to suggest to Tracy that she could come with him in order to start a new life together. With Tracy's days at number 1 numbered and her relationship with Tommy over, will she be tempted to join Rob? 6. Mick and Lou ruin Daisy's special moment. Seeing how low Daisy is, Daniel suggests that they do a little something to commemorate the loss of her child. Daisy broaches the subject with Kit, the actual father of the baby, but he doesn't appear to show much interest. Later, Daisy and Daniel light some candles in the Rovers' backyard as they take a moment to reflect on Daisy's loss. But the moment is soon ruined when new neighbors Mick and Lou come blundering through the back gate from their home on Maudsley Street. Daisy has already become an enemy of the pair, after she spurned Mick's advances only for him to put the blame onto Daisy when Lou confronted him. How will Daisy react as the Larry couple interrupt such a private moment? 7. Brody blackmails Sean. When Dad Sean pays Dylan a visit, he's pleased to see that he's apparently coping all right and has settled in. But when Sean later goes to leave, he's approached by Brody, who decides to show his true colors. He demands that Sean bring him a burner phone on his next visit. Otherwise, he promises to make Dylan's life a living hell. Sean's terrified by the ultimatum, but eventually decides to do the right thing by telling Dylan exactly what his supposed mate is up to, with the full intention of reporting him to the staff. Dylan's horrified, but begs Sean to let him handle it himself, rather than making things worse by grassing up Brody. But it seems that might be easier said than done, when Dylan tells Brody that his dad won't be smuggling in a phone for him, but has at least agreed to not report him. Brody is far from impressed. He decides that Dylan needs to be taught a lesson, as he and his mates enter Dylan's room. 8. Debbie makes an enemy. Debbie's frustrated to hear that there is a problem with the electrics at the hotel, and enlists electrician Mick to sort it out. He later reveals to her that there is no problem. It was a planned outage and she would have been notified via email by the energy company. Debbie says with absolute certainty that she never received said notification, and balks when Mick goes on to present her with his bill. As Debbie refuses to pay an infuriated Mick, is she just having a run of bad luck or is there something more going on? 9. Eileen walks out on Julie. Eileen and Debbie's sparring over the missing taxi ends up having a knock-on effect, when she angrily tells Debbie that she has enough to deal with at the moment given sister Julie's cancer diagnosis. Unfortunately, the public spat inadvertently reveals Julie's tragic news to her ex-partner Brian, who has been enjoying spending time with Julie again since her return. Later in the week, Julie decides to face up to the inevitable as she arranges to have lunch with Eileen and Todd in the Rovers with a view of discussing her eventual funeral arrangements. Whilst it's all in a day's work for Todd, who is glad to be of some help, Eileen finds the prospect of her sister's passing too much, and quickly excuses herself. Will Eileen be able to face watching her sister's demise in the coming months?
Quý vị và các bạn vừa xem xong một sản phẩm của Streetspoilers. Hẹn gặp quý vị và các bạn ở các tập tiếp theo.
Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more movie spoilers next week. Goodbye and see you again.